And so, thinking about the overdose epidemic and how we are now going into 10 years of a drug poisoning crisis that has led to so much unnecessary death, how has your program helped survivors prevent overdose?
So multiple ways. Number one, being open and honest, because a good prevention strategy is to know what someone is using and how often and where they're using it, and what they might have experienced before. So you could talk to, have you ever overdosed on this substance before? Do you know someone who has, like, those sorts of things? All of our staff in and out of the office, administrators, every single person on staff is trained. Here, the one that they give us locally is Narcan, but I know there's like naloxone as well. So we go to that training annually. We keep it accessible to not only ourselves as staff, but also to the clients. So it's also not harmful to children. So that's like another myth that sort of exists, that it can't be around. You can give it to an animal, so it really won't hurt anyone. So it's accessible like Band-Aids are, like that easy. You can find it in our shelter as easy as you can find a Band-Aid or a pen or a marker.
That's
And
awesome.
keeping Yeah, accessible. We also provide clean syringes and clean needles in the shelter. Those are also accessible. They don't have to ask us for them. They're in a central location. It is a locked location, obviously away from children, but the key is available to them. No questions asked. We provide no question asked lockers where they can lock whatever they want to lock up. They will not be searched. We don't do room searches as a practice. So that's honestly overdose prevention, right?
Mhm.
You're not going to search their stuff, so they don't have to get rid of their stuff. Um, and we provide sharps containers for safe disposal. But I really truly think open and honest conversations surrounding it have been because we've had the like overdose prevention medication, the Narcan, for years. That's been an ongoing thing, but the rest of it's sort of new. I mean, the last couple years, and that's been the most helpful because they're just honest. They call and say, I might have taken so much. We had a survivor one time go out to meet her friends to use, told us she was using, came back, got some Narcan, took it back, and was like, I'm concerned about my friends. So the ability of us to communicate with her and her feeling comfortable could have potentially saved this other person who wasn't even residing in our shelter's life that night. So I think accessibility and then open, honest, non-shameful conversation surrounding it, and making sure that the accessibility is in a non-shameful way. Like, you don't want them to have to beg, borrow, and steal to get your clean needle that you provide, right? Like, it should just be accessible and easy to access in a non-judgment, the same way they would access a banana or melatonin if they needed to go to sleep, like that sort of access with the non-shame approach.
Yes, yes. And it's so eye-opening to hear you share that you've had Narcan on hand for a while, but that really what you saw make the major difference was when people were able to talk openly about what they were experiencing, that they were able to really feel like they could have those really kind of supportive conversations with staff, that staff were actually going to be helpful, and not someone that they needed to kind of protect themselves against, right? And that is such a key ingredient for being able to support survivors who are dealing with anything, right? Including substance use, but really dealing with anything.
We had a survivor one time who we thought had actually overdosed. We were about to administer Narcan in the building, and it ended up, very long story short, being a medication switch. She was on other psychotropic medication, had been switched, had a negative reaction, was okay. And when we were talking about this, sort of debriefing it later, she said, I promise I wasn't using anything, but even if I was, I feel like I probably would have been able to tell you guys that anyway, so I would have nothing to hide. So it was refreshing to hear from her, even though that wasn't actually her experience. she would have felt comfortable, like knew that she could have told us if that was her experience. So I think that was helpful. And then she sort of had an interesting response because, of course, other shelter residents are like, oh my gosh, you know, she overdosed. And she was like, wow, like there is a high stigma surrounding this like medical need that I had, like that wasn't even related to use. So I think for her, that gave her space to then talk openly with staff about like the stigma she was experiencing from a reality that wasn't even hers. So it's really like multi-level destigmatization that you're talking. Like you're not only helping, you know, the survivor that presents with substance use disorder, but you're also helping other community members, shelter residents, understand how to interact with individuals like that better as well. So you're sort of changing, it's harm reduction at a community level as well.
Yes. And it
Mm-hmm.
just makes me think about how stigma hurts everybody, right? Stigma hurts particularly those who are impacted by that stigma, but then also thinking about how stigma related to substance use could have prevented this person from getting the medical assistance they needed in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can have an adverse reaction to any medication, you
Yeah.
know. Probably one of the few exceptions is actually naloxone, which is as non-toxic as water and really does nothing if one doesn't have an opioid in their system. It's just someone
Yep.
isn't going to have a bad reaction to it. It's not going to hurt somebody.
Conversations around that because they're like the kids could get it and I'm like they can and they'll be, it's like a band-aid, the band-aid doesn't hurt them.